1 mark in UPSC examination may cost you an year. A single mark lost in the optional subject or general studies may cost you a service. And losing marks for unnecessary things may cost you an attempt. It's imperative that you are aware of some common mistakes people make in spite of the fact that they have put in a lot of effort in preparing for this exam. Do you know what they are? So let me take you through some common mistakes that aspirants often make in the mains paper. Number 1, inadvertently, people end up revealing their own biases and their own identity in the exam. It doesn't matter whether you're a student of anthropology or public administration, and it doesn't matter whether it's a general studies paper or the general essay. One of the most important points one should keep in mind while attempting any answer is not to directly or indirectly reveal your identity, whether it is your religion, whether it is your gender, or it is your caste. And also at the same time, you should not reveal your bias, your personal opinions, unless and until you're asked for. You should try to keep your answers as neutral as possible, and you should be democratic enough to accommodate and respect diverse opinions. This examination checks not only the clarity of thought, but also your ability to apply the same concept from multiple perspectives. You need to tackle any question from a panoramic point of view, a 360-degree perspective. And while doing so, you should not at any point of time reveal your identity. That's one common mistake aspirants often make. The second mistake aspirants often make is something pretty silly, not respecting the word limit or the space limit. There is a reason why you are being given a predefined space to communicate whatever you want to. And for the short notes in the optional paper, you have a predefined word limit also, normally 150 words. You probably must have prepared really very well. And the question comes in the exam and you're tempted to write everything you know about it. But it's not required. Try and spend a couple of minutes on how you're going to structure your answer. Note down the most salient points that you're going to cover, and then proceed with your answer. Make sure that you're communicating all the points the question is demanding, and make sure that you're illustrating your answer wherever required, and at the same time make sure that the script that you're writing is legible. You're underlining the most important words, names of the scientists, and also the names of the tribes or other cultures that you may be using in order to support your answer. The space that has been earmarked is for you to exploit fully, but do not go beyond the limits that are set by the examiner through the answer script. And the same holds good for the word limit too. The third problem is something on the other side of the continuum. People assume that the examiner knows everything, and they try to keep their answers very generic and do not try to explain the propositions that they are making in the paper. That's not a given in this examination. The quality of this examination is extraordinary. The level of understanding one has to have in this exam is probably an MA honors level, in spite of the fact that many people say that it is only a graduate level exam, not for the optional at least, and definitely not in anthropology. Clearly and lucidly explain every single point that may require the examiner's attention to enable him to understand the question and your answer that explains it. It is you who has to prove to the examiner that you know the concept clearly. This is an examination designed to test your ability and your conceptual clarity. And making use of the given number of words and the space and the time allocated for each question. You should try your level best to convince the examiner that you know what you are writing about. Use every tool that is available to you at your command. Illustrate your answers. Do not leave your illustrations unlabeled. Make sure that you are defining the concepts, arranging your points in neat bullets if required. And factual mistakes. This is a common mistake that I find in many papers I evaluate. When you are not sure about the anthropologist or the scientist's name, when you are not sure about the geographical location of the ethnographic example that you are planning to cite, when you are not sure about a label to a illustration that you have drawn, when you are not sure about any fact, don't bother to mention it. And never try to impress the examiner by giving wrong facts, because the examiner knows everything. Because there can't be a greater mistake than making a factual mistake, especially when you're dealing with topics like physical anthropology, when you get your geography wrong, when you get the scientists wrong. That leaves a pretty bad impression. And you can't take the examiner for granted and assume that they will overlook it. Please remember, this examination is one of the most meticulously conducted examinations in the world. And factual mistakes are pretty silly to appear in a paper for which you have worked very hard, and I would rather have you leave a fact rather than misquoting it in your paper. I urge all of you to also download an advisory that has been put up on the UPSC website, giving you some examples of some common mistakes that students often make in the mains examination. Go through it meticulously. Did you find this video useful? Do let us know your thoughts. Please leave your comments in the below window. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel, and I'll make sure that I'll keep giving you inputs through this medium as much as possible. Wish you all the best.